too many men are having too many kids outside of marriage. These men are having kids by women they either cannot stay with, they are not prepared to stay with, or they never plan to stay with, which is probably the most common one. By what I mean by women they cannot stay with, that is usually in the case of divorce. Okay, either she can't stand him, he can't stand her, or they simply cannot stand each other. In a situation like that, the man can't stay. He cannot stay. And there are a few cases to where women make the same mistake or error or screw up that we do often. Okay, men. I mean men, as we do often. Sometimes a woman will have a great night with a guy and get pregnant and realize he ain't the one. I got pregnant by somebody I had no intention on ever having a baby by. Yeah, they want the baby, but they don't want him. Yes, sometimes women make those mistakes too. It happens. Now, the second one is not prepared to stay with. What I mean by that is you don't have any money, you don't have a place to stay, your credit's not right, your mind's not right, your situation is not right, your education is not right. You were not prepared. You don't know who she is. You don't know who you are. You weren't prepared. But now you have a baby on the way. But because you weren't prepared, it normally works out to where you guys end up not being able to live together. And if you stay together for too long, you never get together. But you still have these kids you have to deal with. And here's the most common one. Bro, you never planned to stay with her. You went out, saw her doing this. You was following it. It was doing the jiggle thing. And your best friend started talking to you. And you know what I mean by your best friend. Started talking to you. He took control. This brain stopped working and he had control. And you went and you had a great time with the lady. And then she calls you. Now you got a baby on the way. And women are amazing. You think she don't have your social security number? There's a good chance she got it or she knows how to get it. They're amazing when it comes to that kind of thing. It's amazing. They all should work for the FBI. Whatever agency deals in espionage or finding out secret information, yes, women should work for them. All of them. They all have the skill. Just saying. In any case, regardless of what your particular situation is, the end result is usually child support. Now, there are a few cases, okay, to where the mom and the dad have a great relationship. They tag team when it comes to the child, and the father makes enough money to where the mom is content. The mom is satisfied. He spends enough time with the child to where she does not feel a need to establish a child support case on that father. They both raise the kid in tandem, and everything works out beautifully. Don't hear a whole lot of this, but there are all those cases. The most common establishment of child support happens within a divorce proceeding. At that time, the courts decide how much the father is going to pay if he's not the custodial parent. The next group is either there's a father that is not paying enough or he's not paying at all. So the mother goes out and she establishes a child support case for that father so she can get what she needs to take care of the child. Now, in some cases, the mom may get more, but in some cases, the mother may get less than what she was expecting she was supposed to get. It happens. Now, in some cases, the father, if he feels like the mother is being unreasonable or he just don't feel like dealing with the mother, then he'll go file on himself. He will go down to whoever's in charge of that department and say, look, I need to be put on child support today. Matter of fact, I bought my first payment in my pocket. I bought my first 2 payments in my pocket, but I'm not dealing with her no more. Put me on child support right now. Yeah, sometimes this happens. Sometimes dads do that. Now, another common way that child support gets established is if you have a mother who exists below the poverty line. She has to go and get state assistance, okay? Now, once that mother applies for state assistance, one of the first questions they ask that mother is, where's the daddy? What's his name? Sometimes all they need is your name. Now, a lot of women, as I told you earlier, they may already have that social security number. I told you, they got skills like that. They may already have it. But even if they don't, the state wants to know what the name is. If the mom don't have the social security number, state got it. State got it. Okay, so they'll track you down. Say, hey, remember that night? Yeah, she's down here. Okay, and she brought up your name as the possible father. So you need to come on down here and give us some of your DNA. And if you're lucky, it won't turn out to be 99.99999%. Okay, if you're lucky. But if you're not lucky, a child support state will be established against you, and she won't be the filer. The state will. And the state will collect their money. Bank accounts, everything. It don't matter. Now, the amount of child support you pay depends on a few things. The most common is how much money do you make? Child support is often based on your income. So the more money you make, the more child support you pay. So let's say, for instance, you're making Jay-Z money. Yeah, it'll get like that if you're making that kind of money. So get ready to pay it. There are a few other things that make a difference, such as how many kids do you have, what state you're born in, and what county you live in. So just remember all of those things. Always try to remember those things before you get somebody pregnant. Okay, think about that. I'm just saying. Now, one of the craziest stories that I have for you when it comes to child support amounts. I was attending a hearing that I had to make sure that I was on top of my payments. Now, I had my payment in my pocket. I've seen guys come in there $5 short and go to jail because they were $5 short. If the judge said bring $5.99.99, you better have $5.99.99 or you're going to jail. Yeah, it can get crazy like that sometimes. So there was a guy who walked in. Still had his Burger King uniform on. Ketchup stains, mustard stains, mayo stains. Still had the line around his hairdo from his baseball cap. So, you know, the judge calls him up. We all watch him walk up to speak to the judge. And now he wasn't there to make sure the judge was make sure he was on top of his payments. He was there to get his payment amount established. So the judge got to counting up whatever it was she was counting up. And the amount came to $1,642.39. Everybody in the courtroom gasped. And the room was full of all walks of life. White, black, Mexican, Asian, and even some women. Yeah, women are more and more getting put on child support. So, yeah, it's starting to happen. But we all gasped. What went through my skull was, you going to jail. Because I see the Burger King uniform. Unless he's working at Burger King, White Castles, McDonald's, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, he's going to jail. So, okay, look, there are probably several reasons for why he's paying that much money. Maybe he owes some arrearages. Maybe he has 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 kids. 7 kids paying that amount of money. Something's going on. Okay. Now, yes, he may have that many kids, but look where the brother's working at. There's no way he can pay $1,642.39 working at a restaurant. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, now look, okay. I know that men need to watch what they do when it comes to who they're having sex with and who they're deciding to get pregnant. But at the same time, women need to watch it too. If you are deciding to have sex with a guy and he doesn't have a college degree, he doesn't have a career established, he's working at Burger King, or say he doesn't have a job at all, you don't want a whole lot for your child. You couldn't possibly want a whole lot for your child. So whatever he's making is what you're getting. Now, of course, there should be a minimum. I agree. There should be a minimum regardless of how much money you're making. I agree with that. But to demand that much from a guy, yeah, he's going to jail. So the state going to be taking care of the kid and him while he in the penitentiary. You know, yeah, because they put people in jail for child support. Anyway, just thought I'll let y'all know that. Now, there are some other variables that do exist, such as what kind of a mood was the judge in when they woke up that morning? Yeah, that makes a difference in your payments too. If they're in a good mood, they may not railroad you. If they're in a bad mood, you might get railroaded. And like I said, it also depends on what state and what county you're in. Now, some payments are reasonable, and some payments, as I mentioned earlier, are not reasonable. It's just one of those things we all just have to deal with. Due to the differences in the amounts, sometimes the amount significantly reduces the amount of take-home income that person is able to live on. Sometimes guys, they go home with less than $100 on the check, and you still have to feed yourself, pay rent, pay for water, bills, transportation costs to get back and forth to work. In some of these cases, it's because of the amount of child support they're taking out their checks and what they do for a living. There's no way you can exist on that. So in some of these cases, men can't afford shelter. A lot of these guys are living at home with mom and dad. It happens a lot, whether you realize it or not. Now, I'm not saying feel sorry for these guys. I'm just saying it happens. To avoid these financial issues, setbacks, whatever you want to call them, these men become self-employed. They get side hustles, they get side jobs, they start businesses in order to attempt to make enough money to pay their bills, live, exist, keep a roof over their head, and then still pay their child support. Some of them are successful at this, some of them are not. Now, one of the issues that is caused when men work for themselves is they have no verifiable income. And many of them barely make enough money to survive, so they're breaking even. Okay, they're not paying Uncle Sam enough tax money to appear as if they're making an acceptable income amount. So when this happens is they have no proof of income. Some of them are unable to build credit. Some are. But if you have no verifiable income, you can have an 800 credit score and not get approved for a loan because you have no proof of income. It happens. And because child support, if you begin to have arrearages, a lot of these guys don't have bank accounts. And bank accounts is often needed when you're applying for a home loan. So you have no verifiable credit, no bank records. And the reason why they don't have bank records is because often if you owe arrearages or you owe money in child support, they will take it out of your bank account. So a lot of these guys don't get bank accounts because they don't want their money getting snatched out of the bank. So now, like I said, I'm not saying feel sorry for these guys. I'm just letting you know what happens, okay, in these situations. So no bank account. Some of these guys have a hard time building credit, and they have no verifiable income, which means they cannot get approved for a home loan. If you cannot get approved for a home loan, you can't buy a house, and that is why some of these guys still living with their parents, or they are not able to buy a home. They're still renters. In some of these cases, the men live with their parents or live with a family member until the kids are grown. Some cases it's 18, but if they're in college, still going to school, it's 21, sometimes older, depending on, once again, where you live. Makes a big difference. In some cases, if your arrearages, the amount of money you owe on child support, if it goes over a certain amount, and depending on what state and what county you're in, it can lead to you going to jail, and in some cases, even catch a felony. Yes. So remember, young men, I know she's looking good. I know those hormones are revved up. I mean, you're ready to shoot to the moon, you know. I mean, you just revved up. You're ready to go. I know. I get it. But remember this, that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't know how long you last. It can get you put in prison. Let's say you're a college kid. You do everything you're supposed to do. You're playing sports. You stay out of trouble. You don't deal drugs. You don't do any of that. That moment with that lady can end up causing you to catch a felony because the child support was too much for you to handle or whatever the reason is. And if you get too far in your arrearages, you will have a felony on your record for failure to pay child support. Yeah, I've seen it happen. I've seen guys do a year in jail for failure to pay. Depending on where you live, what county and what state you're in, it can happen. So think twice before you get too involved in your moment. to the left, to the right, north, south, but never stay where you're most comfortable. Please don't. To the side, to the left, to the north, to the south. I'm just saying, be careful. As I was saying, if you catch a felony, okay, we're just talking about felonies. If you catch a felony, there aren't too many places that will approve you for a home loan with a felony on your record. So young men, grown men, whoever, remember what I'm telling you. It's not worth it. North, south, left, right, but never stay where you are currently most comfortable. Okay, now I'm trying to keep this for the kids. I'm trying to keep it PG, no G if possible, because I don't want YouTube giving me any problems. I'm just saying. North, south, left, right, never in the middle. I appreciate you sharing your time with me. If you could do me a favor, just hit the like button real quick. It'll help me out. I'm new to the game, but I promise to try to bring you better content and improve every video as I make them. In the meanwhile, you take care of yourselves. Once again, it's been a pleasure. Talk to you later.